Live. That's GG's live coverage of Grand Prix Columbus 2012. Sheldon Menery, Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with you for Josh Cho v. Orrin Beasley, not Pat Cox. Or Mike Gumpel.
Okay, so we're doing things a little out of order here for Orrin, but he's going to go get a dual land of some sort here.
Probably steam vents.
Probably a steam vents. It's the only one, I think. And he's going to play a turn 1 Delver of Secrets, which is that's exactly what he wants to do.
It's a tempo card. Delver of Secrets is so good that he's willing to bolt himself on turn 1 to play it.
All right, I think we have the players mixed on the sides too.
Oh, that's Josh Cho.
Because that's Josh Cho on the right, yeah. And there's a look at Orrin Beasley and his hair.
His Van Dyke.
It's a sweet mustache. That takes a lot of work. All right, he plays a Treetop Village and passes back, and we're going to see if this Delver is going to transform. It doesn't. We're getting used to that here.
It's the weekend of not transforming Delvers.
Sheldon and I do not allow transformations, apparently. All right.
Well, it makes games closer.
It certainly does. When that thing turns over on the first turn, all of a sudden things end quickly.
Well, we did see 3 transformed ones on the board yesterday.
In one turn.
Yeah, in one turn.
Yeah. All right, and a step link. So Josh really has a pretty ideal opener here. I mean, he's able to put out 2 early threats. He does need to transform that Delver, and he would like to have a fetch land to back up that step links. But that's a lot of damage.
We see a Lightning Helix in his hand, so that means the life coming back.
Orrin decides to play his Blood Crypts tapped, and we see a Remand too, which is really a pretty ideal draw here. Like whatever Orrin decides to do, which is nothing this turn. He's only got green mana up. So he's going to be taking, let's see if there's a land drop to follow, and if it's a fetch, I believe.
Get in there, step links.
There's not a land drop.
So he attacked anyway? Just for style points, I guess?
Here you go.
All right, so no land to follow up. So it's only 3. That's a pretty big deal, but sitting on the Remand is pretty nice as well. Ooh, Jund Charm.
Uh-oh.
So he can like upkeep Jund Charm him to sweep his board. That forces Josh to use his Remand and also basically all of his mana for the turn, although it does give Josh 2 rips at a fetch to try to hit for 7 damage. So this is going to be one of those situations where Orrin's going to have to, I don't know what else he has in his hand, but he's going to expect whatever he plays here to get remanded, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. There's Blood Crypt. Looks like...
I mean, he's got a Marsh Flats. He can get whatever he needs, but it's going to cost him a lot of life. Passes a turn. He lets him go to a draw step, so he's not on that plan. I guess he already knows he has a remand anyway, so it's not a big deal. He can just do it during combat or whatever. Fetch land acquired. In fact, it's better to do it now, right? Because that way he doesn't let him get a second draw to fetch, so that makes sense.
Pass priority.
All right, he says no blocks. All right, take 5. Yeah? That seems fine from Josh's perspective. Orrin is very, very conscious of taking damage from his lands here. But he's going to have to end step Jund Charm or something here, or terminate. He's got to do something.
Yeah, he's gonna have to fetch, and he's gonna have to force some action because I mean, again, like you said, he knows Josh has the Remand.
Yeah. So he needs to do something now, and then something on his turn again to deal with the board state. Now, Josh has kept that Scalding Tarn. Trigger. His finger is on the trigger on that thing, so that can actually protect his step links if he wants it to.
Step links, of course.
So let's see what Orrin decides to do here. Here comes the Jund Charm. He's going to name the mode of do 2 damage to each creature. It can also remove a graveyard or put 2 +1/+1 counters on a creature, but he is doing the board sweep mode here.
That's a nice flexible card.
It's very flexible. Yeah, that whole cycle was really sweet. I think Bant Charm's my favorite of them, but Jund Charm certainly does work.
Bant Charm's a little elegant, where Jund Charm is, they're kind of like
the shards.
They're shards, yeah.
Yeah.
John Charm's kind of workmanlike.
Yes. All right, so Roman does hit the table here for Josh. And Oren has drawn a lightning bolt as well. So if he has a second red source, he can Jun Charm right now, force Josh to crack his fetch land, and then also get a lightning bolt on the Stepplinks if he wants. All right, well, he's playing a Misty Rainforest, so he's going to be taking some damage if he is going for a red source here. He's got to be getting nervous because Josh's deck does run a full package of lightning bolts and lightning helixes. So, all right, so he's not getting red.
And we know Josh has at least one helix in his hand. That's a Snapcaster.
It is. Now, he won't, although, you know, I think that he probably won't have, Oren knows that he's going to have to draw a land if he wants to activate it.
Results.
All right, Kitchen Finks is going to come down. So,
You going 11? Yeah.
all right.
That changes the math.
So what Oren decided to do was just lightning bolt the transform Delvers and then just play a Kitchen Finks. And I really like that play. It does leave Josh with an active fetch land, but he can just throw the Finks in front if Josh decides to play another. If Josh draws another land and decides to crack the fetch, sure, use up all your. You know, those are a resource. You know, those fetch land activations.
Go ahead.
And Josh just is forced to say go. You see Tarmogoyf.
Yeah, I mean that's the bolt plus
And
Sphinx
a Bloodbraid Owl.
is a huge tempo play.
It's a
here.
huge tempo play. I really like that line a lot better than going for the Jun Charm. 3 and Inquisition U. This is going to take the Helix, or it's going to force Josh to use the Helix. Alternatively, Josh can crack both Tarns. He can play Snapcaster Mage, and he can remand it. We see Jerry T there on the left observing. Jerry and Josh were teammates. All right, he says, sure. Oh, man, that's a pretty spicy hand. Wow. That's a lot of reach. Double Helix, Bolt, and 2 Snapcasters. That represents like 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 damage. Right. Yeah.
So, and the Finks, I mean, the Finks basically has kept Oren alive right here.
Yeah.
Because,
I mean, Josh needs the time to do it, but sure.
Because he's not going to, I mean, he's going to have to get in. Oh, he can keep his links back.
He decided to take a Helix. The normal play is just to take a Snapcaster because he's just going to get back whatever you take away anyway.
Go. I'm going to Helix you.
All right, so he says, Lightning Helix, target you. I'm assuming that Oren has just passed the turn back here.
18 to 8.
Yeah, I think that,
Doesn't have any attacks.
yeah, I think that Josh doesn't really want or care for this game to go into
No. So
any more red zones.
No, right, and so Scalding Tarn is going to go get a mountain, which is going to just bolt him, I'm sure. So Oren's going to go to 5. Then Josh can Snapcaster on his turn or whenever he wants to get the Helix back, and that's going to put Oren to 2. And then Josh just has a lot of live draws. He's got another Snapcaster in hand, in fact. So if he draws, so Bolt you, Snapcaster, Bolt you, and that's the game.
Here we go.
That's the thing that I actually really appreciate a lot about Josh's deck here, is that it has that element where sometimes you just draw your string of burn spells and or Snapcaster mages in any combination, and that just becomes your plan.
Right.
And a lot of decks are just like, well, I guess he just won this one because I was casting and doing stuff, but it didn't matter because when you're talking about Modern, these spells are really efficient. I mean, Lightning Bolt's one of the most efficient spells they've ever printed. And Lightning Helix is right up there too.
Sure.
It's a lot of damage you can pile up for very low amount of mana.
Yeah, but I think the important thing in that game was that early Delver.
Yeah.
Getting those damage that the Stepplinks getting Well, it attacked twice, but
yeah, it didn't. Yeah,
it didn't do didn't do anything the one time. Right. So the deck really needs to lay that early pressure, because if those 7 points of damage hadn't happened,
yep, then all of a sudden all the burn spells in the world don't matter, because generally speaking, like even a Jund deck can put up enough creatures to race your burn spells,
right,
unless you've taken a big chunk out of them. Kitchen Finks, though, can really help. I mean, every time a Kitchen Finks enters the battlefield, it's almost, it's taking away 2/3 of a bolt or a helix.
Right.
And when your game plan is what Josh was doing here, and if Oren can put out multiple Kitchen Finks, it really puts a big crimp in that plan.
So what are we likely to see from the sideboards here?
Well, I want to see. So I see that Oren has 2 Finks in the main. I want to know if he has any more in the board.
Doesn't look like it.
Okay, because that's...
Does have Obstinate Bailoff, though.
We don't forget that. Yeah.
He's got 2
so
duress.
there you go. Obstinate Bailoff is a big one. That will come in for sure.
Second Jund Charm, maybe?
Yes, the second Jund Charm for sure as well.
Probably in favor of the Maelstrom Pulse.
Yeah, those are a little slow. I don't know how well Oren knows the matchup, what he plans on facing here. He probably knows better, but I mean there are swords that are potentially in play here. There's Isochron Scepter.
So
maybe.
So tanky.
Yeah, so Josh is running a 1 of Isochron Scepter. The earlier versions of this deck actually ran more, and it was part of the main game plan. But people have gone away from that for more direct routes to victory.
Right.
But it looks like Josh said, hey, misers.
Yeah.
I like it. I mean, you certainly don't want to draw 2 of them.
Right.
I mean, usually that'll just kind of decimate your hand and you won't be in a good position. But just having 1, I mean,
this is the first time
I've lost to that.
Yeah.
Get a helix on that thing.
And not seeing it in game 1 means, unless Oren really knows what Josh is playing, it's certainly something he wouldn't. He might not even sideboard against it anyway.
I doubt it.
It's a 1 of.
I mean, he wouldn't know for sure, but yeah. Over on Josh's side, he's got 4 Molten Rain.
What's next for you?
2 Timelies, 2 Mutagenic Growth.
SCG Open Buffalo.
Mutagenic Growth's interesting. You might actually play those. Those are usually used to save your Geist Saint Traft from a sweeper like a Jund Charm.
Right.
And he might actually do that. I mean, he saw a Jund Charm in game 1, although he remanded it and it never came back down.
Because I live right there. But
the game plan had changed by that point to just
I think
burning.
I'm going to New York next weekend.
Get a good look at Josh here. He top-8'd Pro Tour Avacyn Restored.
Like it's my fiance's birthday.
So we'll tell you, while I'm shuffling up, I'll remind you that we are on Super GP weekend. They are underway in Ghent, in Belgium right now. They are, in fact, in round 15.
Pretty deep.
So they're battling out. You can see that they're paired there in round 15. And in Sao Paulo, Brazil, they are just getting underway like we are. Quite a couple of notable names down there.
One of them did not make day 2.
And one of them
he said his deck was good too.
Then we got a new puppy now, so she's just like, I don't know if this was a misplay or not. But
I don't think we've resolved any mulligans here yet, right? They're just still shuffling.
Yeah, I think they're
I'll
still
get you a puppy, thinking that it'll clear up time for me to go play cards on the weekends and stuff. Yeah. But now I get calls and texts every
So Orange, the one card that modern Jund has that standard Jund didn't have is Dark Confidant. And this just ramps up the volume a little bit.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I haven't counted yet how many lands. Maybe we can get a quick count on how many lands he's got. Let's see, that's 8, 9, 12, 14, 15, 17, 24. Usually they run a few more than that, but yeah, it's nice whenever you have good old Bob in your deck to just consistently just hit land after land with him. And I mean, the most expensive spell in this deck costs 4, and it's a Bloodbraid Elf, right? And beyond that, everything costs 3, 2, or 1. So you're pretty safe to run it out there now against a deck like Josh. Yeah. I talked to Shahar about that, because we saw a similar matchup here, and I asked him when Reed played his Bob, how did Shahar feel about it?
Yeah.
And he said, I felt really good. He's like, I like to see that. He says, I don't blame Reed for playing it. Like, he had to do something. But, yeah, you know, he was pretty happy to see it because, you know, you get some of those lightning bolts back.
Right.
The ones that, like, the kitchen finks take away from you, you know. And I've played a similar deck to Josh's for a while in Modern, and I have to say I'm the same. Like, if I have any type of burn in my hand, I just let him keep Bob and just dome him. Oh, looks like Josh brought in timely reinforcements. Is that what that is up there? That'd be interesting.
No.
All right, Inquisition you. I guess we get to see it right away.
The whole thing.
Yep.
Yeah, everybody can see it now.
Yeah.
That is a timely reinforcements. Timely reinforcements, Geist, Double Helix, Snapcaster, land. Geist is a big problem for a lot of decks. Oren does have 3 Lilianas in his deck, so he can kill it, but I think most people would just take the Geist here because it's such a pain to deal with. If he has a way to deal with it, then he probably will let him keep it. In which case, I think he'd probably just take the Snapcaster.
It's not that actually that bad.
Yeah.
But I think I'd take the Geist. Barring, you know, a way to deal with it. Orange
So
deep in the tank here.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
He's
he's
in
got
the tank.
he's got Bolt in hand.
Never been this happy before.
Then what do you take? I mean, you know, you're sitting in orange seat, and he's got. We see.
I know he has a
Blood crit.
Terminate.
Well, I'll make your
see a
decision
blood
easier
crit
for you,
too.
buddy.
Yeah.
There you go.
But I'm still taking the Geist. Like, unless I have Liliana, like, that Geist can just wreck you, and the better part of Josh's deck is designed to take advantage of that card and protect
Right.
it. So he does go ahead and take the Geist.
Yeah, that seems like the play.
Yeah. I mean, even though Josh isn't going to be playing it for a while, like, that card is such a problem if you can't deal with it, and it's hard to deal with.
All right.
So I don't think Josh has a 1-drop. Yeah, he didn't draw one, so he's just gonna have to say go here. Timely reinforcements is an interesting one.
Sort of very deliberate early play in this game from both of them.
Yeah. Again, we see Oren paying really close attention to how much damage he's taking from his lands. Like he just refuses to take any unnecessary damage.
Well, one could certainly be the difference. I mean,
yeah.
He knows that Josh is a little more quick out of the gate than he is. Although without a 1-drop, again, I think the math on that changes radically.
Definitely.
But he has
I'm a bad player. Go ahead.
he has slightly more, let's call it inevitability that Josh does. But he's peeled Bloodbraid Elf.
For the rest of the game. Yeah, correct.
A fine turn 4 play if there ever was one.
Yeah. Well, it's like in Standard, it was like Christmas, you know, because you just.
Not if you're on the other side of it.
I'm telling you, there's nothing like Bit Blast into Bloodbraid into Lightning.
Oh, man. Many a rage quit. Third land.
Josh did peel a third land. We saw that he only had 2 in his opener.
I mean, he can't really do anything here. He can gain 6 life. That is the face of a man who cannot really do anything here.
All right, show up 1 game.
But I have to say this game has not gone according to plan for Josh. You know, from this point on, I mean, I know it's early and it looks like the life totals are good, but Oren is actually in a pretty reasonable spot here. Look, he's just in no real hurry. I mean, he decided not to play Bob last turn.
He's going to crack that. He's going to crack that Verdant Catacombs.
The kind of card that he'd love to play here is like a Finks, you know. That's the kind of thing that he'd love to see.
Well, getting that green source, and we notice that it's not a shock land.
Right. He's just so conscious.
Well, again, you know, highly skilled player knows exactly how much damage he's willing to give away.
Absolutely.
Whereas, you know, a middle of the road player might go, well, I can fetch a Shockland, so I probably should.
So I will, yeah.
I got you good, buddy.
All right, looks like Bob does come down here. All right.
Yeah, I mean, he's got with Josh with no pressure.
Yeah, like
there's no downside to playing Bob.
No, I mean right now
Probably gets helixed, right?
I would definitely with Oren sitting at 19. You cannot let even a one Bob activation happen. So yeah, Bob is biting it for sure, and he does. Josh goes back up to 21.
So
now his timely does nothing. Actual nothing. Whoop. Go. So no third land or no fourth land, and Oren just keeps drawing more lands and more heat here. I'm sure Bloodbraid Elf is going to come down now. He has a land to play, but can also just. Oh, Liliana. All right, I didn't see that. That's a little awkward, just because if he does play a Bloodbraid Elf subsequently, he can hit another Liliana, which is definitely not what you want to be doing. All right, he's going to discard a land, and the timely reinforcements from Josh bites it. That card is not doing any work for him this game. Not sure I'm a big fan of the timely. All right, Lightning Helix, target Liliana, which is really exactly what Oren wants to happen here. And again, Josh just says go.
Yeah,
there's the obstinate Baloth from.
That's not a good sign.
No, and you know, Josh used the Lightning Helix to take Liliana down a notch, and you know, again, Oren is in a kind of a weird spot because he has. He discards his Baloth, which that doesn't trigger though from your own things.
No, that would be silly.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm surprised he didn't just. Oh, he can't play it. He's only got one green source. That's also why Kitchen Finks won't be able to come down. Although I don't even know if he has one in his hand. But no, it's Terminate and Bloodbraid Elf and Lightning Bolt for Oren. But it looks like he's reluctant to play that Bloodbraid Elf just for the reason that, you know, he doesn't, like, it can hit a lot of things that don't do anything here.
Just a little guy.
A Step Links on turn 7 or whatever this is.
Yeah.
This is not the dream for Josh Cho here.
Well,
that being said, Oren is, you know, he's really embracing the, I'm playing the control side of things here, and he's not applying any pressure. All right, he says, all right, here we go.
Well, now there's a creature in play.
Yeah, he can actually cascade into a removal spell reliably and have it actually hit something. Or a Kitchen Finks, which is a very nice hit. Now all of a sudden he has a reasonable board presence here.
And again, he's picked up a couple of life.
I'm with the life gain on this stack.
Now I'm curious if he decides to attack or not here. He's got, you know, if he decides to hold back, he can protect Liliana if that's what he wants his game plan to be. Otherwise, he can just start beating down with one of his creatures. It would be the Bloodbraid Elf.
I'll bolt Liliana.
All right, so Lightning Bolt Liliana. It looks like Oren decided not to attack because I think that on end step, Josh said, all right, let's get Liliana off the board. Or not. I don't know why Josh did that right then. That's interesting.
Yep.
Maybe had he not activated Liliana yet, and he did it with like the Cascade on the stack before Oren had a chance to use Liliana.
Right.
All right, probe you. He's going to see Bolt and Terminate.
Just the Stone Bolt over there.
Yeah, Josh must have just said, you know what, I'm going to lose this card to Liliana anyway. I might as well bolt her while I have the opportunity, and Oren opened the door for that. An 0-1 Step Links is not doing any work here, so he just sends the turn back. Doesn't have any fetches up.
Yeah, so now Oren is definitely
He's up against
swinging.
it pretty good here. Yeah, just time to bash. Send him in for 6. I mean, there's a bunch of helixes and paths and different things that can happen here. In this case, it looks like it's going to be a lightning bolt off of a Snapcaster Mage to kill. He can wait till after combat.
That's fine. All right, with the blocks.
Sure. So go to blocks. He's going to trade here. And it looks like he's just going to bolt the Blood Braid, so he takes nothing this turn.
Go fast, yeah.
And Finks comes back, gains a little bit of life. And Josh is stable here. I mean, he's not, he's not in dire straits. He knows exactly Oren's entire hand, which is only 2 cards, but he knows both of them.
Can't be. What did he just draw?
Isochron Scepter. Oh, baby. Okay, now we've got a little spice here. It is a bolt. So now things can get pretty interesting. I don't know if Oren kept his Maelstrom pulses in. Oh, let's see if we can. Oh, there's one right on the bottom. So the pulses are definitely in. But he does not have one in his hand, which seems relevant.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is going to be pretty interesting because that bolt is going to do a lot of work. It can take out the Finks, and then it can just start hitting his face every single turn until he's dead, until either Oren finds enough.
I will not bow down
I mean,
to them.
the cool part about Lightning Bolt is that it kills most of Oren's threats as well. So, like, you can just go infinite on it until Oren finds something to blow it up.
Now, we'll note,
Wow.
we'll note that Josh can't activate Isochron Scepter right now.
No, he's still stuck on 3 lands while Oren's sitting on 6, and he's already discarded 1, 2, or something. So, like, he's... Okay, there's a Bloodbraid Elf.
That was right.
There is always hope when you have a Bloodbraid Elf.
Nice game. Jeez. Not the worst.
This is the part where Bloodbraid Elf, like, always hits the thing that the other player doesn't want it to. Pulse every time
Pulse
here.
every time.
All right, here it comes.
Rest. I knew I should have bottomed that one.
Oh, Liliana.
Definitely not the worst, right? Yeah.
That's kind of interesting. He can use it. Well, he's got to use it now because. Well, no, actually, he doesn't have to, but
Yeah, -2.
should. There it goes.
Yeah, bash for 5.
He's just going to minus it to take care of the
There,
step
five.
links and bash.
14?
I mean,
14 to 20.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. Wouldn't you just use your terminate there? Like, Josh doesn't have that many targets for a terminate. Again,
it's not like he can't play the waiting game with Liliana and ticket upwards because I mean once he factor fictions Josh.
oh, the bad factor
the
fiction.
yeah, he faction fiction.
But that's just not doing enough here. I mean, Josh keeps a land in his scepter probably, or all 3 of his lands. And that's like 18 turns away. I mean, Josh can kill Liliana at will, right? Like, he still has 2 more turns that he can just activate the scepter once. Right now, he's probably going to have to prioritize his life total and take out the Bloodbraid Elf like he did here. But I mean, he's got a lot of time given the board state. The Finks is only hitting him for 2. Lightning Bolt? No, what is this? Oh, a Lavamancer. Okay. That is a full graveyard as well. But again, every activation off that scepter is just huge right now. A land finally? Yeah, I think he has a Steam Vents. And that means that he might be able to start playing. Oh, he just wants to be able to. Oh, he wants to look at his graveyard. Okay. 3, 4, 7, 8, 12. He's just got probably 5 or 6 activations in the bank there. So he's going to have to kill some creatures. We get a look at Rashad there, our illustrious leader, chatting with Jerry T.
Good.
Oh, the fun has ended. Jund does what Jund does. Maelstrom Pulse. Welp, that was fun.
Yeah, I think Oren was circumspect and not kind of jumping up out of his seat right there.
He seems like a pretty chill guy, but yeah.
That's pretty good.
2 for 1 you, although he's already gotten plenty of value out of that scepter, but still. He's not even going to bother activating Liliana here. Play a fetch. He still has that other Steam Vents in his hand as well. But I mean, it still feels like Oren's just in the driver's seat here. Like Josh Josh is going to have a tough time coming up with a combination of cards to get himself out of this. Liliana did stay alive, so if Oren gets to up her even once, that's going to make a Geist of St. Traft susceptible.
Right, there's Treetop Village.
Yep, Treetop Village go, so we're going to see Grim Lavamancer start activating and going to Josh's face. He's only at 10.
And there's easily 10 cards in.
I don't like it. I don't like
Orange
it one bit.
graveyard, right?
Easily. And there certainly will be by the time. No, there's the Geist, and he did not plus Liliana before, so.
Stop doing the things, man.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, he's not going to be able to instantly kill it because he didn't make sure that Liliana was on 2. And it looks like, unless he can play a creature, Josh is actually going to get a chance to attack with his Geist, which unfortunately is probably going to trade for a Treetop Village on the ground, but the Angel would kill Liliana if he wanted it to.
Must be.
All right. Josh discards Vapor Snag. Yep. Oh. Oren says, you know what? I'm going to ignore.
Yeah, I mean, Josh's life total is 8. So
this puts him to 5.
He gets it for 3. Lavamancer. I don't care if you attack me for 6 next turn.
You're right, because he's going to hit him down to 5 right here. Then he's going to lightning bolt him, and that's going to put him to 3. And then, actually, does he just have double red here? Yeah, so Josh knows. Oh, and the mutagenic growth comes down too. Oh, that's kind of fun. So it makes the makes the Geist a 4/4, and it's going to eat the Treetop Village. Unfortunately, Josh does not have green mana in his deck, so that did take 2 life to activate, putting Josh to 6. He's at a virtual 1 right now, given what we know about Oren's hand. So it's going to be, so if Oren gets to untap with the Lavamancer intact, then the game should be over.
Yeah, Josh needs something miraculous right here to get rid of the Lava.
Bolt.
He's got Helix. He's got Bolt. He's got a.
I mean, he can even Vapor Snag it and live another turn potentially. That is a very large Angel token.
See the logo there of Professional Event Services, otherwise known as PES, the great tournament organizer Mike Guptill running this event, providing score pads for all the kids.
I'm not sure exactly what is attacking what here, but I'm assuming Liliana is the.
Well, yeah, he's got to attack Liliana now. He's kind of got to attack him with. I mean, Oren's not gonna.
Yep, Liliana dies.
Actually, he only has to attack with the Angel as it flies.
Right.
Rats. Go ahead.
Yeah, if the Lavamancer stays alive, game's over.
Yeah, I think we're probably going to see Oren only use the Lavamancer. He doesn't want to tip it off that he's got the lightning bolt here. You know, it might prompt Josh to Vapor Snag or something like that. But Josh is like, no, I'm suspicious enough that I'm going to Vapor Snag right now. Unfortunately, Josh still just doesn't have enough pressure to really make this plan work. So, play a Lavamancer. It looks like he's just drawing a land here.
Yeah, he has to kill the Lavamancer. He can't. You know, when you have a tempo deck, and time isn't on your side, then
yeah, and we've seen that time and time again this weekend. Is that this deck specifically, if it hits 1-drops early, it's in a great position to win. And then when it doesn't, it's kind of floundering.
Yeah,
like it doesn't come back well. Like, you know, when you're running Remand over Mana Leak,
right?
That doesn't dig you out of a hole. That doesn't prevent. You know, it protects what you have now.
Yeah.
As opposed to stopping what they're doing indefinitely. So
yeah, well, I think we saw LSV get a Port of Calling remanded yesterday, and he just kind of shrugged.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, cast it next turn.
Yeah, I'll just do it again. You know, and that was more like a, you know, almost a desperation remand, you know, as opposed to like, I've answered your threat remand, so.
All right, so we're going to go to game 3 here. Josh Cho v. Oren Beasley. GG's live coverage of Grand Prix Columbus 2012.
GPC bus.
According to Aaron Forsythe.
Represent.
Aaron
Poor Aaron, he read our screen yesterday.
And he believed us.
Yep.
You can follow all the action on Twitter on GG's Live. You can also follow both Marshall and myself. I think our Twitter handles will come up there eventually. There we are. There we are.
Yeah, you can give us any feedback on there, too.
Sure.
You know, we always get it anyway.
Right.
A lot of people saying, oh, you missed this, but I actually really appreciate that because, you know, we had to sit here and try to break down these boards over and over, and, yeah, we miss stuff sometimes. And it's nice to have somebody just to say, hey, you know, this was there, too.
Yeah, the math, somebody pointed out the math on one of the combos yesterday. And one of the things, I don't know if you folks watching at home realize, is that we don't have an audio feed to the feature match. So Marshall and I can't actually hear what the players and the judge sitting there are saying.
Right.
So, you know, we might be left guessing what's going on down there. We have a sort of indirect feed through our crack staff. This weekend, the role of Rusty Kubis is being played by Ben Swartz.
The Ben SW.
But yeah, there's sometimes we're going to miss stuff because we don't hear what's going on.
Yeah.
We certainly ran into a misinterpretation of
Yep.
the thing with Gerard Fabiano yesterday, where we were maybe questioning his sportsmanship a little bit.
Yeah.
When it turned out he was being the really good guy.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's just one of the things that, you know, we'll get it figured out.
Sure.
I mean, we usually do, but, like, you know, we're pretty dependent on life total switches and kind of interpreting the actions of the players. You and I have watched enough rounds of Magic that we can usually figure. I mean,
right.
You know, like one of those spots that we saw just a few minutes ago was when Josh bolted Liliana.
Right.
And I thought, well, that's got to be on end step then. You know,
Right.
because that's when that should be. But I figured out pretty quickly, oh, no, he must have done it with Cascade on the stack because there was this window. But, you know, piecing those things together when you can't actually hear the players can be,
Yeah.
you know, we'll miss that occasionally. We just didn't happen to this time.
Yeah.
All right. Players are getting ready for Game 3, the decider here. Now, does Josh have an early play?
Is there a Delver in there?
There is a Delver in there.
There's a fetch land that gets him blue in there.
All right, he's going to go for the straight steam vents and play a Delver. All right, so this is what he wants. Now, I have to say, though, Oren's deck excels at killing things like Delver. He's got tons of removal for a card like a Delver.
Like a lightning bolt?
There's one right now.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you, what's the? I mean, Josh has to play the turn one play.
Yes.
But the percentages are pretty good that he's gonna spend 2 or 3 life to get that turn one Delver, only to get it killed right away.
Yeah. And that's what we saw here. All right, so land. And I can't see the two important cards are slightly off camera. We get a really good look at
see if we can get those to slip.
Twilight Myers and Swamps and
So
Verdant
we
Catacombs.
can see those cards. Okay, Ben Swartz is going to get on that for us.
We couldn't see the other two cards in his hand.
Kitchen Finks.
All right, so we'll get a chance to look when Oren picks up here. There's a Finks and a Pulse, I think. Yeah. All right. So that's it, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, there's one other card. I don't know the other card.
4 lands, Kitchen Finks.
And a Pulse.
And a Pulse.
But there should be another. Oh, no, he used up a bolt. Yep. Ooh. So the double trouble. Lightning or Pulse?
Maelstrom Pulse will take care of either 2 Delvers or 2 Insectile.
Well, you know, this is actually interesting because since Josh knows it's there, he can play around it by transforming only one of his Delvers if he wants because it's actually a different card, you know, as far as Maelstrom Pulse is concerned, although that does limit the damage.
Okay, we saw no transform there.
No transforms.
So does Oren just, I mean,
is right. Idiot.
Oh, so Josh has a
and the race is on.
Vapor Snag. So he's going to counter the Maelstrom Pulse. But I'm sure Oren is aware of this. Like, it's pretty rare that you say, let me see your hand. Oh, you have a Maelstrom Pulse? I'll play 2 of the same card the very same turn. You know, like, you have to have a plan against that. Like, he might put him on Remand.
What is it? I mean, what if it's, what's the window there for Josh to be just really brazen, not have the backup, having looked at his hand? I mean, we're talking elite level players.
I think,
so.
like, I think the word brazen could be substituted by foolish pretty easily.
Okay.
Like, Oren's going to play the spell. Like he also, Oren is also aware that it might not work, but he's just like, I'm doing it, you know.
So he's gonna play it here.
I mean, unless he has another play that he feels is better, he's definitely just going to take the opportunity.
I mean, we saw him just draw a Bloodbraid Elf. Which he has the mana to play.
And the race is on.
Well, he's only on 3.
Yeah, but I mean, he's got the mana in his hand.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, it will come down next turn for sure.
We know that it's got.
I looked like a fool last night. You're gonna see me pull my over here. God, why do I forget these things?
Pulse away, sir. All right, so I'm pretty sure that we're just going to Vapor Snag the one that it targets.
Right.
And what that's going to do is that's going to effectively counter the spell. The other one will not die. And boom, Lightning Bolt, transform this guy, and now all of a sudden Josh is in a reasonable spot. Now, we know that Oren has tons of creature-based removal. All of it can kill an Insectile Aberration here. So, you know, Josh doesn't have like a bulletproof threat here by any means.
So Oren takes 3. That means both players' life total is 13.
Which definitely favors Josh, generally speaking, having the full 8 burn spells in his deck versus Oren, who's really, I think, just has the 4 bolts.
But
all right, Bloodbraid.
So what fireworks are going to happen right here?
Well,
there's Liliana.
There's the Liliana. So, I mean, almost everything in his deck is creature removal one way or another. Liliana is no exception. His creatures are generally not, but his spells are. And, yeah, I mean, I just fully expect to see Liliana tick down here, take out one of the untransformed Delver, and beat down. So she's at 3. And Orange is hiding. Sometimes it's correct to go.
I mean, Josh is playing Spell Pierce.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, he didn't have it this time, but.
Yeah. I don't think. Yeah, I didn't think he had it, but he's playing that, so there is some value into countering either the Bloodbraid Elf or the whatever it cascades into. When the opponent taps out to play the Bloodbraid Elf. If you have the Spell Pierce, you have some options.
Oren's taking an interesting line here. So he is plussing Liliana of the Veil. He's going to force Josh to discard something. And he's leaving her open to death. Oh, Josh discards a Lightning Bolt. It's interesting.
What's his other card?
I don't know, but it must be really sweet. So now he's actually just going to force Josh to make a decision about how he wants to handle. Wow, and he attacks. All right, so he just says, you know what? If you want to kill Liliana, sure. Like, you can use your entire attack step to take out Liliana. He will have to send both creatures that way. I mean, do you really want to Vapor Snag a Bloodbraid Elf? I don't know if that's plan A here, but.
So, other card in Josh's hand we still haven't quite seen yet.
You know, another thing that can happen here is if Josh doesn't want that Vapor Snag, he can crack that Misty Rainforest and shuffle it away. Now, you're a judge. Is that a drawn card there? I mean, now it is. Yeah. But when he pulled it to the side, is it still in revealed mode, or is it?
When he pulled it that length away from his.
You would consider that
library,
drawn?
I would. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if he had put it right there next to the library, I might have given him some leeway.
Now, what if he verbalized? What if he said, "I'm thinking about if I want to draw this"? Then it's no problem. Yeah. Okay. I'm always curious because I know once it touches your hand, there's no question.
Right.
All right. So he did decide to keep that snag. I don't know how good it is here, though.
So maybe saving it to save one of his guys.
Definitely possible. The problem is that with Delver of Secrets, you know, that's a process, right? Like, save your guy. All right. So he's only going to send one at Liliana, which is interesting.
Is there a line there for him to just go all in?
Absolutely.
And attack Oren, knowing that he's going to have to sacrifice one of the Delvers, one of the Aberrations next turn?
That's a completely legitimate line that he could take here. He decided not to. He's got the card that he kept in his hand was a Helix, right? So like it makes sense, you know, discard Bolt, keep Helix, but I think that, if he would have gone all in, he would have had Oren at 7. He helixes him to put him down to 4. He has a Vapor Snag to put him to 3. It gives him a lot of outs, Snapcaster Mages, all the stuff that we were talking about before, another Lightning Bolt. Like, discarding that Bolt was a real heartbreaker for Josh. He's probably pretty bummed that he played that land and had to discard the Bolt instead because it represented lethal given what he's drawn. That being said, he would lose a Delver, an Aberration rather, on the next turn.
So Josh is gonna take that damage, by the way. Yeah, I just saw him doing a little math on his fingers there, but he's
from the elf.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're gonna see. I think he's really gonna wait to see what Oren's play is. Oren still has a Terminate, doesn't he?
I think he at least has a Lightning Bolt. I don't know if he has a Terminate. So we both discard. So I would expect the Snag to be discarded here. He could also just dump his hand. It's post-combat. He can snag the Bloodbraid Elf and hit Oren. Unfortunately, Oren could still just recast Bloodbraid Elf and gets another Cascade off of it, even though, the haste aspect is lost. He's already had gotten his attack in with it, so it's not that relevant. Tough position here. All right, Snag goes away. Well, I mean, it's either the Snag or nothing because he dumps his hand.
Right.
There's a Kitchen Finks, and there's also a Lightning Bolt, and there's a Tarmogoyf as well.
Oh, that doesn't look good for Josh Cho.
That is a lot of action, especially the Finks. The Finks is a big one.
Yeah, Oren doesn't, with only one card in hand, Oren's pretty sure that Josh can't kill him from 10.
Especially when, you mean this turn?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't think that there's a sequence of cards in Josh's deck that does that. 9 is doable. 9 is actually very doable.
Well, especially we didn't see what Josh drew, but with three from the Helix, 3 from the Aberration.
I mean, he has 6 represented, yeah.
But Oren looks pretty driver seaty here because he's got the Kitchen Finks. And Josh Cho's at 7. So
yeah, he's representing lethal as well. The Goyf is at least 4 or 5, and the Bloodbraid Elf is 3, so that's 7. Now, we know that Josh has a Helix, though, and so that changes the race math significantly by adding, putting Josh at 10 effectively. There's Nate. He's so tall, he doesn't even fit in this shot. He does the Walking the Plains videos that are so popular now.
Very entertaining.
They're just awesome, yeah. Him and his buddy Sean do those. Players in the tank here.
I think it's mostly Josh.
This is a critical spot. Like, you do not want to screw this up. A lot of counting happening here.
Yeah. Well, he's got to, at this point, what he's doing is he's counting the possibilities of what he can draw.
Ooh, Molten Rain.
On your stomping grounds, redirect to Liliana.
So Molten Rain, your red source, and redirect to Liliana, and say go.
You're just going to draw a bolt and make it move, right?
Is that an Inquisition?
Yes! Small victories!
Looks like it might be, yep.
Take my Helix. Oh, man, he had to discard a Bolt and a Helix this game, plus the Snag. That's 7 damage.
Yep. I'm working so hard here.
Attack with both. Brother. So he's just going to trade with the Elf, and he's going to take presumably 4 here. I didn't see any artifacts or enchantments, Planeswalkers. Oh, there's a Planeswalker. It should be 5. So Josh probably goes to 2. Yep, he does. And he's rubbing his hands together, although...
what's he got against the Tarmogoyf?
I mean, he's got chump blockers.
Chump blockers aren't winners.
There is a chump blocker, and a Terminate off the top should seal the deal.
Yep.
And Josh Cho falls to Oren Beasley's Jund deck. And, I have to say, Oren played that like a true Jund player, just ground him out,